So hello once again and welcome to another Monday where I ramble about miniatures. I'm as always Dakia. This is as always a Monday. It's a new Monday. It's the 18th of November 2019. We are rapidly running out of 2019. It's coming to a close. But I'm going to get a few more miniatures painted before it's done. And starting out this week, I finished these three new Discworld minis. There's Tolliver Grote, the mailman here on the left, his uniform. I have no idea what these white things on his shoulder parts of his uniform are. They're sort of random patches of white stuff. It's painted white in the studio model, so that's why I did it white as well, but I don't know what it is. Is it like the stuffing of his uniform is coming out through holes in it, or is it stuff that's landed on him for some reason? Is it pieces of paper that have landed on him? I don't know. Anyway, he's standing on a pile of mail, and I painted that a little bit, just added the hint of stamps and addresses on some of them, just to make it look okay. This guy called Revo, the studio paint job has, all this stuff which is dark, like the pants, the lining on his vest, and his hair and beard are all the same shade of black in the studio paint job. And I've tried to make them a bit different. So the hair is a blue-black, the pants are a gray-black, the lining of the vest is a kind of a purple-black, actually. This thing in his hand, I finally figured out by, again, looking at the studio paint job, is a mask. It's a cat mask. Now, they have painted it like a sort of a white tiger by adding some extra black stripes to it. And while that looked okay in the zoomed in picture, I don't think it would look good on, just on the tabletop. It would confuse the eye and make it even less clear what this thing is. As it is, it might, on first glance, look like a weird handkerchief, but oh well. Then here's this big cat, which don't know if it comes across here, but I painted the eyes the same way as the studio job, namely one normal cat eye and one blank white blind eye. It's zoomed in a bit more. Let's see if we can get some light here. Oh, that's too much. I don't have much choice here. I can either put extremely bright light on the models when I'm filming, or too little light. This is what wintertime does. There is no natural light at all that I can use. It's all gray outdoors, or black when the sun goes down. And now within this really strong light, you'll see a glimpse of sheen where, as always, I've painted, I've varnished them first with gloss and then hit it with matte, but the matte isn't covering completely. There's a few specks of light of gloss there, but that's okay. You don't notice under normal lighting conditions. Anyway, cool kitty. Let's move on to more stuff. And well, looky here, we have a lot of bandits. Now I'm imagining this as the rest of the Stag Lord's bandit gang. They're just a random assortment of rogues from Reaper, mostly some fairly old models. These three ladies are, no, not these three. These three are from a collection of very old figures. It's slightly smaller scale than modern figures, which is why things like the faces, the eyes are a little messy compared to how I paint modern minis, because they're not as large, and it's hard. And honestly, the casting and sculpting was not as good as recent models, so it was hard to get in there with a paintbrush. And they look a bit sloppy, but they're not supposed to be looked at too closely. These are run-of-the-mill, grist-for-the-mill minis. This one is Bones, a newer one. That's why she's so much bigger than the others. A little bit softer in the detail because it's bones and not metal. But anyway, and so we have the three dudes, and you'll notice they're painted in sort of random bright colors, a bit. Some green, but a lot of colors you wouldn't think of for people actually trying to hide in the forest. But I think you know, realistically, medieval times, they would grab whatever clothes they could find. They wouldn't be too picky about the colors. And yeah, I got them done. They're, you know, they won't be on the battlefield for too long. The players will kill them quickly, I think. And for my final trick this week, I'm presenting some monsters again, courtesy of Reaper Bones. First, we have the two slugs from the Bones for Kickstarter, the fan favorite set, which I painted very simply as looking gross and pale and slimy, with, you know, leaving them sort of glossy. This is actually satin varnish, but doing the basis matte rock. There's a little bit of sheen close to some of the slugs, but you know, that's slime that's come off of the slugs. We can say that. And then we have these three harpies, which were just out of the catalog. Again, I decided that mostly they should be the same, but they have different hair colors. And also they have little pieces of cloth tied to their right arms, which I painted different colors as well. This one is, I think, green. This is one blue. It's hard to see, but you know, slight differentiation, just so you can tell them apart on the battlefield. Now I have, with the old one, a total of 4 harpies. I think that should be enough. One should never have to meet more than 4 harpies, hopefully. And they are extremely roughly painted, especially, again, the eyes and mouths on these. The faces are very blurry in these castings. So things like the eyes and the mouths are just very roughly sketched in. But that's okay. It's just monsters. Very disposable. And yeah, now it's time to look at all the stuff that did not get finished since last week, and also the stuff that I've newly started this week. On my work table here, I've collected all the stuff that is sort of left over from previous weeks. I've started a little bit more on these ladies. I started glazing in their dresses. A little bit work on the fur and the metal on the cat people. Not so much on the mimic. Some metallics here and some more color on the basis of the knights. Not much to say about the bard or the doggo here. I'm not sure what's this thing is on her back. It looks like there's a small fanny pack strapped to the outside of a large tambourine. Uncertain. Anyway, I just want to complain to Reaper sculptors about one thing. What the hell is this lance? Now, it's not the anachronism in itself I'm concerned about. The fact that we have a knight in Norman era armor and a late medieval jousting lance. I mean, mixing time periods and even cultures in fantasy is fine. It doesn't worry me. But as I think I mentioned, this is a jousting lance. Oh, it's starting to droop. I straightened the plastic out, but it's soft plastic, so it's going to droop. This is not a weapon. This is a sporting implement. A jousting lance is made completely of wood. It's made to break and shatter on impact. It's not meant to penetrate somebody like an actual war lance with a spearhead. Why the flippin' heck is he carrying this? Unless you think he's at some sort of tournament. But why would you have a model of a character who's just going to be mock fighting? He should have a battlefield weapon. That annoys me. Anyway, rant over. Let's move on. Now these 3 models from, I think it's called Mixed Studios, have been prepped, primed, and gotten some undercoats. mostly under shading to sort of see where all the detail is. I'm a little concerned about all the hands are sort of very carefully super glued on, and they've held so far. I'm a little leery about how long they will hold. I'm wondering about the skin tones on this female sorcerer. You know, she's got a base coat here of pink, but when I was looking at her, I thought maybe I want to paint her some unnatural skin tone, like blue or green or something, to make her look like either a non-human or a human who's been sort of altered by magic. I was thinking about this because in my last D&D campaign, which is finished by the way, the sorcerer character at one point rolled, he was a wild mage in D&D 5e, and he towards the end of the campaign he got that roll where his skin turned blue on the wild magic table. And I thought, well, maybe I should paint a sorceress like that. This guy I think is going to be dark skinned, but oh well. Anyway, I'm bringing these to the store tonight, and we'll see how far. The last bit of prep I have to show you is the Halfling Adventures. These 7 characters in both standing and lying down form. They've just been prepped. I've very recently applied the basing material, this paste. I could show it again. It's this earth texture acrylic from Dark Earth from Vallejo, which I tend to use for everything these days because it's faster and easier than glue and basing grids. I still have a lot of, you know, this stuff, which I still sometimes use, but not at all as often as I used to. Anyway, I have to let this dry. I have to let this set probably overnight till tomorrow before priming them. But after that, they will be good to go. And time for new projects, and actually new arrivals. I got a package in the mail, not the one I talked about last week. That one is still lost. I'll mention that in a little while. This is from Reaper. This is my November order from Reaper. And interestingly, the bonus mini for November was this guy, the Megatron Ogre Juggernaut, which you will recognize if you've been here at least a couple of weeks. I just recently painted this guy. He's included in the bonus for Kickstarter, the fan favorite set. So I'm not going to paint another copy of him right away. I'll put him away for a rainy day, you know, for when I get some sort of inspiration for a different color scheme for him. I don't want to paint him exactly the same as I did the first guy. No, what I actually ordered was a bunch of small flying things. So I got 3 blisters of the Murder of Crows, which is like a swarm of crows or ravens. I got a swarm of bats and 2 copies of Bat Swarm. So these are both bat swarms, but slightly different sculpts and models. Now this one, the swarm of bats, I only got one because I've already painted one of these before. So I wanted even numbers. I've got 2 of each now. And I wanted 4 of the Murder of Crows, but they only had 3 in stock in the EU warehouse. So I had to make do with 3. And finally I got some Sturgis. And since there's only 2 of these Sturgis in each pack, I got 3 packs, so I have 6 in total, because you need at least a half a dozen Sturgis. They're such tiny, easily killed creatures, you need a lot of them to threaten players. So, a lot of flying stuff. And yeah, this is like generally useful small monsters and swarm monsters and stuff used in the early levels. So I'm going to prep all of these crows and bats and Sturgis for next week. Now they're not the sort of project I usually bring to the game store for that painting session, So what I've done there is I've pulled out some statuesque miniatures. These are the last of the statuesque miniatures I have in stock, so to speak. This particular set is called Tallulah Kane and Carter. Now, I think Tallulah Kane is this lady here who is a reporter. You can't see there's a sprue with a microphone. She's holding a microphone, and the dude Carter he's holding this video camera on his shoulder. So it's a reporter and her cameraman, and they're kind of the equipment looks kind of 1970s or 80s in style. Which is interesting because statuesque usually does pulp miniatures, which is from an earlier era, like 20s, 30s, 40s. But these are more modern day. I mean, it's not up to 2019 equipment, but, well. And so I'm going to prep these for the store painting session, and I was thinking I would base them using this set from Micro Art Studios. They're called Highway Bases, and they're sort of wrecked roadways with pavement with cracks in it or some rubble. So I'm thinking maybe these people are reporting from a war zone of some sort. That's the story behind it. Yeah, I think that would be cool. Now, an update on my lost Kickstarter project package is that PostNord, my local mail service, has admitted they've lost it. They've said, yeah, this thing hasn't been scanned in a long time. It's probably gone. Unfortunately, they're not going to reimburse me for it. What they say is that international law says that the sender has to ask them for reimbursement. So I have to contact the sender, explain the situation to them, get them to try to get money back from PostNord if they want or care to, and maybe send me a new set of minis. In the meanwhile, I am trying to get PostNord to give me back the money I paid for import taxes. I mean, I paid 92 kroners, which is like $10 American, just for import duties and handling fees. And charging me that and then not delivering the package, I feel is kind of a scam. They have not answered back on that. They are such crooks and so incompetent. But anyway, that's where it stands right now. I'll let you know if anything changes on that front. But in the meantime, I've still got a lot of painting to do. Yeah, so I think that was all for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Click like if you watched this far. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And join me back here next Monday. I will be here as always. But until then, this is Dakian, signing off.